Hi, my name is Schyler Church. I am a California real estate broker as well as a member of the education department at Accredited Real Estate Schools. We provide those course requirements to be eligible to actually take the state exam, as well as a ton of varying levels of preparation to practice and prepare for that state test. And this video is going to be talking about popular state exam practice questions to help you prepare. And this is Contract Edition Part 2. So this focuses on Area 7 of the state exam of contracts. So let's dive into it. 1. A broker-owner relationship that is established by a listing agreement generally is an A, bilateral contract, B, employment agreement, C, promise for a promise, D, all of the above are correct. So as always, I tell you, make sure to break down the question, understand what it's asking, and what do you know also about the concepts. Well, what we're saying here is that a broker-owner relationship is established by a listing agreement. And what does it generally do? Well, by having this listing agreement with a broker and a seller, for instance, well, we know that listing agreements are bilateral contracts. And what does bilateral mean? Promise for a promise. So A and C we know are correct. And just based off of that deduction, D, all of the above are correct. But why is B, employment agreement, also correct? Well, an employment agreement is important because with the listing agreement, it establishes this employment and it conveys the warranty of authority from the seller to the broker, and vicarious liability results from this. So the broker is liable for all of their actions, all of their salesperson's actions, all of their broker associate actions. So the broker is roped into it. The broker can't say they weren't aware of it because this listing agreement establishes this employment, because the seller is employing the broker to list the property on the market, accept a earnest money deposit, for instance, so that warranty of authority that is provided. And so it might not be a traditional employment agreement like you think of if you're an employee, but this listing agreement does also, it's also considered an employment agreement. So all of the above are correct. 2. A real estate broker need not prove that he is the procuring cause when A, an open listing is used, B, a net listing is used, C, an exclusive right to sell listing is used, D, a broker never needs to prove he or she is the procuring cause. Well, we know what they're asking here is when you're a real estate broker and you have a listing, for instance, when do you not need to prove that you're the procuring cause? Well, when you hear the term procuring cause, you should automatically think of an open listing, because in open listings, it's one that is provided to multiple brokers. So you need to prove that you're a procuring cause when an open listing is used. Now, on the basically inverse of this, or the other end of the spectrum, a exclusive right to sell listing, you never need to show proof that you're the procuring cause if the home sells within that time period that you have for that exclusive right to sell listing agreement. So due to this, the best answer looks to be C, and that is the correct answer. Also, D, a broker never needs to prove he or she is a procuring cause. Nope, that's not correct. Depending on the listing agreement you have, you probably might need to have show proof that you're the procuring cause unless you have that exclusive right to sell listing. A net listing, those are hardly used. You don't technically need to show that you're the procuring cause most of the time, but sometimes you do. So the best answer, though, is because an exclusive right to sell listing, you always get a commission if it happened within that time period that you had that valid listing agreement. And let's go through these types of listing agreements. Commit this to memory. Really important to know about all of these listing agreements. You need to understand them. I'm going to go through them briefly. So an open listing, remember, this is just when multiple brokers work simultaneously to sell the property, but the commission is only paid to the broker who is the procuring cause of the sale. It's a decent type of listing agreement, but definitely not the best. The best one is the exclusive authorization and right to sell listing agreement. So the seller pays a commission to the agent no matter who sells the property. This is the one that is commonly used because it's the best and gives you the most security as a real estate agent. And an exclusive agency listing, so notice the difference between exclusive authorization and right to sell and exclusive agency. Those are two different ones. So with exclusive agency, the seller pays a commission to the agent no matter who sells the property, except if the seller sells the property him or herself. So if you have a valid exclusive agency listing agreement, you'll pretty much be paid a commission no matter what, except if that seller themselves sells it. So they're the procuring cause of it. A net listing. The best example of this is, for instance, a seller says, I want $200,000 for my property, and you can keep anything above that. If the agent can sell the property for $225,000, the agent will receive a $25,000 commission. This is legal in California, but the downside is the agent could do everything correctly and still not receive a commission because maybe the property sells for $195,000. You wouldn't get anything. An option listing. So an agent lists a property for sale, and at the same time, the agent personally has an option to purchase the property for a specified purchase price and length of time to exercise the option. This is an okay one. So just know an option listing, it kind of states it in the name. If you're listing the property, but you also have the ability to purchase it by having an option in it, then it's an option listing. And then the worst type of listing agreement is an oral listing agreement, because any type of agreement should be in writing. So yes, it can be in Word, so it could be in oral, but the best way, especially because the statute of frauds is oral, is written, but an oral listing is a valid listing agreement. It's just not the best type. It's actually the worst type because the agency relationship is created by oral agreement and is effective in establishing the relationship, but it's really hard to enforce it. So make sure to commit this to memory, and let's apply this to some of the other questions. 3, an owner listed his property for sale with a broker, but sold it himself without utilizing any of the broker's services. He was obligated to pay the listing real estate broker a commission. The type of listing was A. So remember, the broker that is entitled to a commission no matter what, even if the seller sells it themselves, that is the exclusive authorization and right to sell listing. So we have it also as exclusive right to sell. 4, a broker has 2 offers on the same property. The 2 offers are from salespeople within his office, and both have given deposits. The broker decides not to present the second offer until the first offer has been accepted or rejected by the seller. The seller is not made aware of the second offer. The broker's action is A, not permissible, B, not permissible since the agency owed a fiduciary obligation to both buyers, C, permissible only if the commission is divided equally between the 2 salespeople, D, permissible if the second offer is substantially the same as the first. Okay, so what is the first rule we know about offers? Well, you need to present offers simultaneously. Really important. If you have 3 offers, you can't just do one at a time and wait for an answer before presenting the next. That is not allowed. That's illegal. It's not permissible to do that. And this is what the broker is doing right now. So we know it's not permissible. Now, between A and B, why is it not permissible? Well, it says B, since the agency owed a fiduciary obligation to both buyers. That's really not the reason why it's not permissible. It's not permissible because of the seller. The seller has to have all the information to make a decision. So the correct answer is A, just not permissible. 5, a property is not listed for sale. A person who wants the property executes an offer to purchase it through a real estate agent and gives the broker a $5,000 check as a deposit. The broker, A, can accept the check on behalf of the property owner, provided he presents the offer directly to the seller as the seller's agent. B, cannot accept the check. C, can accept the check as the exclusive agent of the buyer. D, none of the above are correct. Okay, so if you do not have a valid listing agreement, you cannot basically accept a deposit on behalf of the seller because you do not have that warranty of authority. However, you could accept it on behalf of the buyer. Being the exclusive agent of the buyer, you could accept the deposit as. So knowing this, what's the correct answer? C. The broker can accept the check as the exclusive agent of the buyer. Now, I hope this was an informative video. This was all about Area 7 contracts. If you have any questions or you want more exam preparation, we have a ton of options. We have a database of 3,600 practice questions to help you prepare. So what we're doing right now is just a small, very, very small portion of what we have. So make sure to check us out at accreditedrealestateschools.com or accreditedschools.com. We'd be glad to answer any questions you may have, but good luck with your licensing journey.